Hello everybody. So this is going to be our last video where we are going to be modding the game. The next one is I'm going to show you how to upload your mod, and just show you how the upload will work on Steam. But for this one, the last thing we need to add is the localization. As you've seen through the playtest, a lot of the words are just off and there's no real description on any of the content, and that's because we don't really have a localization. And now if you want, you can go right into like one of these GUIs right here and just type in the title and the description and it will still work. But when you have a bigger mod, you're going to need more. You're gonna need like to have a place to store all your titles and descriptions, and especially with this, there's some text that can only be done through the localization. So for today, I'm going to show you the localization. So the first thing is that you want to make a new folder called localization. I'm just going to start off by going to community, going to new folder, and I'm going to call this localization. And I'm pretty sure that's spelled correctly. Localization. Okay. Inside localization, you're going to have the folder English. Actually, I'm just going to copy this right here and just bring this over here because it'll be easier and just make the video go faster. We're going to have English. And I think in a sense you don't even need to have English, just as if like you're having multiple languages. But in the public game itself, you can see that it will have it where it will have English, Mandarin, I think Italian, French, and a bunch of different languages. So, because the game itself has localization, it has all these different different languages right there. So we go into English, and then we need to create a document called endless EF and localization assets locales, and if you look inside the endless legend public localization in the English side, you'll see that you also have this one as well, but you also have the EF localization locales. And so you're probably wondering, like, what's the difference between these two? I mean, clearly there must be a difference because the size, this one's much larger while this one's much smaller. And if we open this one up, you can see that this one has a lot of the descriptions for the story per se. Like, notice how we have the definition of all the units. We have some of the wording for the quests as well. The wording for the technology, all those different things, like more of the story, more of like the creative aspect. But if we go into the other one, you will notice that there's just a lot of the words that are mostly for the options, and more of like the words that are needed, such as like new game, mods, join game, name right here, friends, like very simple words that are essentially needed in the game but aren't really that creative. I'm not saying that you can't get creative with them, but this isn't the place to really like add your quests or the definition to your unit. So we're going to be solely working in the EF localization locales because we're not adding any new options or anything like that. So that's why we're going to be working exclusively in this folder. But if you were to add some sort of option and you want to add like a new game feature where you change the speed or something like that, then that's where you would add the words to it. You'd add it in the other one. But for this one, we're going to be working in our EF localization assets locales. And for right now, I'm going to open up the GUI because this is where we actually need to copy and paste all of our stuff. So getting into here, I'm going to just move my stuff back here, going to close that out, and I'm going to close that out as well. So if actually I probably shouldn't have closed out that other one. Gonna have to go back into localization, and we can see right here. So this is the one from my Kazanji faction. I just have this up because there are a couple of words. There's a special feature in here that I don't remember just correctly, but if I see it, I'll remember. This is it, the names. I'll get into this, what this is later, and how this works. Okay, so for the first one, this right here we can just ignore. That's I was working with type of descriptions when I was like modding this, so like this new unit ability. So we could just ignore that. So the first thing that we need to change that we're going to add is our GUI affinities. So we're going to have, actually I'm going to just erase, I'm going to erase this whole, well, I'm just going to change this actually. I'm not going to erase it. It doesn't make sense really to just erase it. But basically, we're going to have our title for our affinity. We're going to have title, faction, SF title, and then faction SF description. And so when we go into here, we need to have, the name is going to be referencing like where this words right here, where this is going to go. So these words are going to go into this title thing right here. Because remember, this is a variable. This is a string right here, which is a variable, and these are just like the words that you put into it, so that way it will get spit out when you play as the affinity SF. So we're going to have it be faction SF title, and because that's what it says in our affinities right there. And we're going to have the same thing for description because again that's what it says in the GUI elements affinities. And so we're going to, and so right here this is going to be what our faction is called, and it's called Silix faction. And then we can write a whole description. I'm going to briefly write a description of the Silix faction. They are I don't know, crystal beasts who want to make a home for themselves. Of course, this is more so like as for like an actual mod itself. Later on, I'm going to probably change the wording on this potentially depending on like how if depending on like just the situation because the school is starting. So possibly after school, I'll make like another like version of this, like update this, have it add more Silix unit like I was originally planning, and change the wording a bit. But as for now, I'm just going to leave it as this because it's just something simple. Just get straight to the point. And now we have now we have that one done. We are going to go into. I'm going to actually just open up all of our GUIs, so that way we don't have to deal with that later on. Going to open up this one. Going to open up this one. Going to open up this one. And I am going to open up this one, the unit designs as well. Okay, so the next thing we have is our unit. So if we go into GUI, we can see the unit by definition, and just like with the other one, all we have to do is just change the title and description to match our own, and then give it its own title and description. So as far as coding wise, this is probably one of the easiest things to do because really all you have to do is call in the what this is. So you can essentially just copy and paste that right there. And then you just give it its name. So we're going to call this Silix, or Silic because it's one. And then for the unit description, we're going to change this so that way it matches. We're going to have this be Silix. What did I specifically call this? Silix. I might as well just copy this whole thing. Silix. Oh wait, no, that's just going to be Silix normal description. Let me just make sure that I spelled that. Okay. And so now what we have to do is that we give this one its title. So we're going to call what we're going to say for this one. I don't know. Actually, what we could do is that we can go onto Google, type in Silix Endless Legend, and we can look up what they actually give the name. So we can just copy this right here because again, it makes sense to copy that one right there, and also because I don't really know what else to say for just a normal Silex unit. And then we have our other unit as well, which is going to be our Silex Titanium. And we're going to paste that right there. We're going to call this Titanium Silic. And we're going to change the description as well. I'm just going to leave that right there and take out the title. So we're going to call, what we're going to give this name now is that we're going to get out the priest, and we're going to now just say something that a Silic optimized for defense. And I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. I'm going to go just straight into the simulation just to make sure that that's optimized for defense, and we can already see that, yeah, this is definitely optimized for defense. So we are going to, so now we're done with the GUI by definitions, and now we have our other things as well. So if you want, you can just skip by this, and you can, if you want, you can just skip by this because a lot of this is just repetitive until we get down to about here. When we get to here, I'll explain what this is and what this is as well. But for those of you that are still listening and just want to continue watching, as you can see right here with this one, for our factions, we have the faction SF title and SF description, but we don't need to do anything with that because we already have that for our affinity, and that makes sense because really we don't need to have any new title or new description when we're just naming our faction. It's not like as though it's like becoming two different factions. It's going to be the same thing, so we're going to give it the same name. So we can already close this document out now. And then the next one is our faction traits. So now what we need to do is that we just need to add in our faction trait. So I'm going to add in our specific diet. The other thing I'm going to do is that I am going to open up my my notes right here, and I may copy just some of my notes that I have, just again to speed up the video because I don't want this to be an hour long of I guess in a sense boring content really, but more as in just like useless content that's like repetitive. So this is going to be a specific diet, and we can just do the same thing but for here, and we gotta take out that extra percent. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take a look at this, and what does it say? My two food tiles. Okay, so it doesn't have any real description, but what it does have, but we can just come up with something and just say that, I mean, you could, like, they can tell that's going to be -2 food on tiles, but +5 2 and +5 production on resources and anomaly tiles. But we can also write this in as well. So what we can just say is that come up with a brief description. Just say something that's like, actually, we could go back into Google. These guardians of great underground farms where crystals grow and nurture themselves. They can use this to immobilize enemies. This isn't the good one. It's really this one. This is the good Wikipedia to use. Slow moving, heavily affected villagers. They development for decades. Let's just see where it talks about heavily affected underground, where Silk's villages tend to develop underground. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. Actually, I don't need to even copy that one. Silex only feed on crystals, and and uh, other rare resources. Um, and only feed on crystals and other rare resources. So we're going to, oh, oops, not that. I'm gonna just move that over here, just that way it doesn't get in the way again. That I'm using, that's what I'm using for to capturing these types of videos. We're going to just copy this, and we're going to paste that in here. And we're going, and so now, and then we have like a little title just saying like what this and anomaly. Okay, there we go. The other thing is that you can also, this does have autocorrect inside of here, so you can tell if like you're misspelling a word or not. But if you type inside of here, you won't be able to. Okay, so now we have our faction trait free. So we're going to change this one from that to free, and we're going to change the cunning to be free. And did I use cunning again? No, I didn't. Okay. So we're going to have that be free. We're going to give this one its own unique description. We're going to call this free. We're going to say, oh wait, we already have free. Okay, so we're going to give this a different one then. Because like I remember that one of these I wanted to keep the same for like being a minor faction, the sharing. The sharing, we can change that to right there, and we could give it its own name. What did I call the sharing? I think I called the sharing, oh, I guess I didn't give it a name itself. Okay, well, we could give it its own name. Because I don't want to just call this the sharing, because it, like, that doesn't necessarily make sense for this, like, for it to speak to the trees. We could just say that, well, what's that thing from geology where it's detecting waves underground? There's the Richter scale, and there's the I guess we'll just say like what's it called? What's it called? Ground vibrations. The Silex can easily detect vibrations by living underground. The Silex can easily detect vibrations, since they spend most of their time underground. Most of their time underground. Okay. So now we have the faction trait, Silk's faction specific trait. And we're going to put that right here after the United. And what does the faction specific trait do? Add 0.5 resource per population. Okay. So what we can say right here is mineral expert mineral extracting. By mining minerals for thousands of for thousands of years, or we could just say for generations, or thousands of yeah, for thousands of years. They have become a custom. Oh my god, accustomed to mining minerals and know the best practices for extracting them. And then we have free. This is just because like they're a minor faction, so it's to give like a bonus because they are a minor faction. And then the last one is that we have our heat wave. So we're going to have our faction trait heat wave right here. We're going to place that over this one. Give that a T because I cut that off. And we can place that one right there. Faction trait, what does the heat wave do? Plus 10 dust per resource on resource extractors. Not entirely sure that that's why I actually gave it. Where's the faction trait? There it is. Bonus resource. Heat wave. Yeah. We can call this dust. Dust infused. And then during this dust eclipse, with extra dust floating around the minerals, they're what's it called? Extractors. Now can extract more. Can extract dust, something like that. Again, this isn't the best wording for it and like the best writing, but again, I'm just trying to go through all this fast, though, to keep this video quick. Okay, and the next thing is that's just a unit ability thing. We can ignore that. Technology. Is there something with the tech? Let's see. Unit body selects normal title. I already gave them. So we already gave them their normal title and things like that. So we can close that off. And now we have our unit design, normal, titanium description, and we need to give also the settler and the militia title as well. So what we can do is that we can actually just I'm gonna just copy these two, and I'm going, well, not copy, but I'm gonna just bring these two up over here. Well, actually that was just the settler one. We can also enter that right there, and we are now going to change our we have this as our unit body SF settler title and our SF settler description, so we just have to change the K to an S and change this K to an S as well. We're going to call the settler expands in regions. That's fine because that's just the general settler name. We're going to also change, I don't know why the militia right here is called settler, but really it should be called city militia. Minutemen, Silix soldiers. Gonna change that to a capital. We're gonna change this to capital as well, even though technically it should be lowercase because their species is Silic, but because of like just the naming itself and how I guess names work, we're gonna leave this as capital. Um, and we don't have anything for, I think, so we're fine with this one. So we could close this one off, and then for our technology, let's see. I guess I might have accidentally forgotten a technology for my main one then. Huh. Okay. So we're going to, actually we're going to leave that there, this mapping, but, no, we actually don't need the mapping. We're going to close off the mapping. That's, because again, that's for a whole different, thing as well. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so we got everything. If we're going to factions. Yeah, so the factions, that's fine. Okay, yeah. So I think we're good on that. Let me just go into mapping and just see if there's any type of. Nope. So there's nothing in there that's a necessarily a connection. So yeah, okay. Because you gotta remember that like while I was doing all this, while I was doing all of that, I was trying to figure out ways to get like the pictures and things like that, which I'll show potentially in another video because I keep mentioning this, but there's a whole weird way of like getting pictures that will cause problems later on, and it's very difficult. Um, okay, so as far as technology goes, I'm going to just copy one of these because it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to copy this one, and we're going to give our technology. Oh wait. Oh, never mind. We don't even need to do one for technology. Um, okay, because apparently this is yeah. Okay, so I guess the technology. Um, I haven't done localization in a while, but it seems like as though the technology um, aligns with the whatever the unit is. So now that we're down to, because so we could just get rid of the technology right there, and we could like the technology would be used if we had like a, I guess in a sense, unique technology that isn't specific to the unit body. So now that we're done with that, we now have the name. So what is this? So whenever you play the game and you make an army, you will have something that says, like queen, like the first army of the land, or explore. Like you'll have something that says like explorer one of the land, or explorer, or like navigator of the land, or something of the land, and that's because like every army you have, you always get some sort of random configuration of the actual army titles instead of it just being some sort of random pile of words. And so the way you get this is that you type in your localization pair, and for the name you have it be a faction affinity, and you call this the SF Army caption. And basically what this does, this is an automatic thing that's like a code inside the actual game itself. Actually, I need to see something in my game. I need to make sure that I didn't accidentally call this in. I'm gonna just take a look at the affinities and um, the affinity mapping, and okay, yeah. So that's something that like just happens in the game, and it will look at the affinity of what you have, and it will, I think, apply that to your and it will apply that to your army. So when we start it, you will see that when we create an army, we will have these sort of names with it, up to 10, and then at 10, I think, I'm not entirely sure what it'll do, but I think it'll just like repeat, like it'll just constantly be repeating. And so this one right here, this is the end. So what we'll have is, actually, if you want, I can just show you. I'm gonna just look up. What's it called? Cultist. That's probably going to, let's see, cultist, Draken's tooltip. We're going to just, we just need to go down, and it will then bring us to, down to here. Was it here? It might have actually been in the other one. Oh wait, yeah, wait, I was looking at this one. It is definitely in this one. Oh, okay, we're not going to deal with that. We're going to just scroll down and look for, oh, so here you have like region names. And we're just gonna scroll down through all the way down to about where it becomes very thin. It'll just have like these single words. Hero skill. We don't need that. Again, more words. I think. Oh, here's some names for your leaders, and it will give you hero names, and oh god, okay, so I'll probably skip past it, but if I type in hand, of the queen, and we're not going to match it by case. Okay, here we are. Army caption, faction affinity cultist, right here. So you'll have it of the queen, and then you'll have like the hand of the queen, first of the queen, vengeance of the queen, and it'll randomly just like go about this. And now if we look inside of here, and we look inside of our entire public thing, you can see that this will only occur once, and it's going to be inside this localization. That's because this isn't going to be called at all, and so once this is done loading, but yeah, so right now we just need to come up with some ideas of what to give our names for the units. And okay, so it came up. Okay, well, it came up several times, but it's only in these localization things. And so, and it came up twice because you have 10. So, anyways, yeah. So there's no reference to it in the game. So all you have to do is just you have to create your own reference. So we're gonna call all these, SF, because that's our affinity. And now and that's going to be our army title whenever we start a new army. And so what we can have is that we can change, since like I made the KF around being like a very like noble, well, not noble, but like more of like a family type of like a very like group oriented sort of unit. But since these guys are more stone based and more as in production, we're going to change this to, I guess, what should the last thing be? So it should be something like of stone. The dust. We're gonna call them. What's it called? What? We'll call them crystals. Like that'll be like what their armies are gonna be called. So we're gonna have them be called like Explorer Crystal, not Negotiator, but what's it called? Dust crystals, Retribution. We'll call this be Stone. What's it called? uh, resource. Um, we're gonna call this rock. We're gonna call this um, I don't know, titanium. Actually, we could just call a bunch of these. So we have titanium, glass, steel. I think steel like that. Oh no, I think it's 2 words. Glass, steel. Okay. Minor crystal. Uh, Minor crystal, and then uh, what's it called? Um, I'll call it divine. Not divine wouldn't really work. What's it called? Uh, we'll call it crystal, because it's probably not gonna get up to this, or well, it might be random, but it'll be pretty funny if like we have it like that. Or now we'll change this to be what's it called? Uh, I don't know. Mineral. I don't know, something. It doesn't necessarily matter what we name it as long as we have something. And remember, if you don't have this, that's fine. But then we have right here our affinity. This is, again, another thing that's only in the game and you don't call. And we have affinity. This is going to be your victory type. So this is like what your faction is best known for as a victory. And so I think ours would be more based on economy, because our entire goal is just gathering resources, and resources can be sold into to get more money. And so yeah, and so yeah, that's how you do these localizations. And so if you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe. The next video I'm going to be doing is uploading this mod and showing you how to upload this. Yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.